Matthew chapter 22, verses 34 through 40. So bear in mind what's going on here, right? The Pharisees and the Sadducees are sending representatives out to question Jesus, to try and discern whose side are you on, what do you believe, what does this mean to the political environment of Israel? And just before this, in verse 23 through 33, we see the Sadducees come to them, and they're asking questions, and Jesus kind of, he just blows them off, says, you don't understand anything about the kingdom. You don't get it at all. And then it says in verse 34, but when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question to test him. Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? And he said to them, let's stop right there, okay? Let's look at that question. Okay, the Pharisees come to Jesus and ask him questions to test him. What were they testing? Not rhetorical, answer me. What were they testing?
Where he belongs.
Yeah, what do you believe? What side are you on? Where's your political loyalty lie? That's what they're testing. Okay? They send a lawyer, a Pharisee. What do the Pharisees believe? What's their agenda?
The law.
The law. Right. The law. The law is going to, if we keep the law adequately, God's going to send the Messiah and he's going to deliver us from Rome. And so they send a lawyer, of course, right, to ask a question about the law. Does this make sense? They want to know, whose side are you on? And because they're so concerned about the law, look at the nature of the question. Okay, teacher, in your opinion, what's the greatest law? What's the most important law? Right? Does it make sense? What's the most, they want to nail him down. See, this really matters. It really matters what he says here. This is going to reveal a whole lot about which political party he's going to align himself with. Which law is the greatest law? What's the greatest commandment? What's the most important one of all? And Jesus said to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind. This is the great and first commandment, and a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And on these two commandments depend all of the law and the prophets. Do you notice in that passage there, Jesus did not actually say anything about the kingdom. I mean, he didn't mention the kingdom. And yet this is all about the kingdom. This is it. Kingdoms have laws. They were asking, what's the greatest commandment? Jesus has been teaching about the kingdom, and he says, yeah, in the kingdom, this is the law. In fact, this is the only real law. Every other law hangs on this one. If you can keep this law, you will have kept every law. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your soul. And there's another law similar, love your neighbor as yourself. And if you can keep these two laws, you've completed all of the law. Love. Love God. Love your neighbor. This is the priority of the kingdom. This is the top priority of the kingdom. This is the focus of the kingdom. Yesterday we drew that picture of a target, right? And all these various doctrines that the churches hold that are all true, and yet they're not the target. Jesus here tells us the target of the kingdom. This is the goal. This is the priority. He says there is no other priority. This is it. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Love is the target. Agape. Agape. This is it.